Hi, I'm Allie Kenny for the Husky Media Club. With me is the recent graduate of Harrison High School, Penelope Zenhausen. We're going to be talking about what life's like after Harrison High School. So, Penelope, what college do you go to?
I go to SUNY Geneseo.
Do you like it so far?
I love my school. I feel like it was the perfect school for me. I definitely chose the right college, and it has been like the perfect transition from high school to college for me.
And you are in person on campus?
Yes, I am.
So, how do your classes work? Are they all in person or some virtual?
My professors, each one of them had the option to choose the style that they wanted. So I have a good mix of in person, and then I have some hybrid classes, and then I have a couple that are fully online. And some of those online are synchronous, and some of them are asynchronous. So we definitely have a full bunch.
Okay. What's it like going to college during a pandemic besides the not being in person classes?
I think one strange thing that most people don't think about is that there are some people that I have met and I have seen, and we're always in situations where we're wearing a mask. So I have never actually seen what their face looks like, and you don't realize it. That's just a little thing. I would say that the biggest difference is that there seems to be less people on campus. But again, since I'm a freshman, it's hard to tell like a difference since I've never actually been there. So I think in that regard, it's a little bit easier.
Did you find it difficult to make friends versus like what your expectations are? Expectations.
Expectations. You got it. I initially it was hard because we weren't sure if there were going to be on-campus activities or events through our halls hosted by our RAs or anything like that. So I was a little bit nervous, and I live in a single dorm as opposed to having a roommate. So it was even more difficult because I didn't even have a roommate to fall back on. But as things started to pick up, once we knew that things were safe, clubs could begin, we had hall events, and then there was a lot more opportunity for me to make friends.
That's good. Can you compare and contrast college life to compared to life at Harrison High School? Like your classes, social life, the workload?
Absolutely. The biggest difference is that all of the time that you have is your own. Every minute that you have in between classes, your evenings, every meal that you have, everything that you do is completely and 100% your choice. Obviously, you have to go to classes, but you get to choose what classes you go to. You get to choose like who you spend your time with, what you do with your time. I personally like it a lot more than high school, but that is sometimes difficult for a lot of students.
Your senior year, the end, was very turbulent. What do you think were the positives and negatives of how you experienced the end of your senior year?
Well, I feel like I personally did well given the circumstances and having to do online learning. I was able to set a schedule for myself and really stick with it. So I was pretty on top of my schoolwork towards the end, which was kind of the opposite of how most kids went. I felt like a lot of my friends were falling off the wagon and they did better in person, and I was doing pretty well online. So that was kind of different for sure, but it taught me how to manage my time a lot better, which is definitely an essential skill and helped me a lot transitioning to college because it didn't feel all that different.
So do you think you learned a lot from the experiences, that the differences of your senior year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I also think that another like positive I would say is that I got to spend a lot more time with my family, which was nice in the moment, but then it also made me really realize that I'm ready to go on my own in college. So it wasn't as difficult of a transition
That's
being away from family.
What are your feelings about Harrison High School? Is there anything that you miss about it?
Absolutely. I loved high school really, and I do like Harrison High School a lot. the biggest thing that I miss are extracurricular activities, clubs, the people that I was with. I was reminiscing a lot about musical with like friends that I would meet in college, and they would talk about their musical experience. And that was such a huge part of my high school career. It was something that we could bond over, but it was also something new, learning about somebody else's show. So I reminisce a lot about that, about the people that I was with, especially in younger grades or older grades that have already graduated. But those little things that I miss a lot.
Well, yeah, I can understand why you would miss that, especially since like there are like less extracurriculars that you are able to join this year.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's all the questions I have. I hope you have a great rest of your freshman year in college. Thank you to Penelope for joining me, and thank you to our viewers. Bye.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for socially distancing and wearing your mask. I am, for most of you know, I am Mr. Galano, Director of Phys Ed, Health and Athletics here. I have some people I want to introduce and thank. Mr. Gonzalez, some of you might not have met him yet. He is the new Assistant Athletic Director. A lot of you guys say, is he the new Mr. Lehman? Yes, he's the new Mr. Lehman. He is going to continue all the great work that Mr. Lehman did, and he was, hasn't seen Peter run, but he was excited about a signing like this. Coach Zanat, obviously he'll be speaking. He's done a tremendous amount for Peter. I'm sure Peter will speak to that. He was his track coach. Ms. Webb, our secretary for athletics. She runs the department. I just, stand there. So I appreciate her. Ms. Griffo, all of you guys know, she's our biggest cheerleader support system. So we thank our assistant principal. Unfortunately, Ms. Buchema and Mr. Mastroda are not able to be here with us. They both did text me personally, and also Peter to you, saying that how proud they were and wish they were here. Dr. Wool, our superintendent of schools, said the same. So I want you to know that they wanted to be here, they couldn't be here. So who else am I forgetting? We have our board president, you know her as a mom. We know her as a board president. And I just want to say thank you for coming out and supporting us and what we do here. Without your support and the central administration, we couldn't do things like this. So I appreciate you personally, but also the work you do for us and for the kids. It is not unnoticed, and we really appreciate it. And thank you for being here today. Ms. Kelly, little boy Mangan. Coach Fish, strength and conditioning coach, has gotten to know Peter, has worked with Peter. So he is a great new addition to the fitness center. We love having him. I'm assuming some of you guys will be going with him after this to go get some much needed workouts in. Coach Sirocco, he is our, I don't know if you guys know him, football coach, but he's also had Peter as well. So we thank Coach Sirocco for being here. Mrs. Anat, she was behind the scenes. I don't know if you had a direct correlation to this, but some of the big-time athletes we've had here, Ms. Zanat has plucked them in health class and, told Coach Zanat about these athletes, and, some of these were directly from her. So, and thank you for the support for coming out. And all of you guys, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. Andy Nickel, thank you for always being around. I forgot to remind him today that he had a videotape. I walked in and he was here. So thank you for all of that. I'll make mine brief because I can't breathe in this mask. And but Peter, from day one, I've known you for 4+ years now, or at least 4 years. Peter is exactly what we want in a student athlete. And I usually start these by saying all these great things about who's signing, and Peter is no different. Peter is a young man who's well-grounded. He obviously does the right thing in the classroom and has come a long way, and Coach Sanat will speak to the progression of him as a track athlete. He was not the best coming in. He has put the work in when no one was looking. He had sacrificed a lot to get where he is. And obviously the journey is not over, but I want you guys, and you guys in the stands, some of you will be moving on to college. This doesn't come easy. He's not sitting here because he was naturally gifted. He worked his tail off with a goal in mind and was able to attain his goal. Peter, I have no words for you. You are, if I had a son, I would love for you to be my son. You're just a kid that you're giving me eye contact right now. To me, that's number one. If you can look me in the eyes, great. You always say hey, you're always positive, and you're always a great role model for your friends, and you represent your family very well. So I want you to know, in this day and age, it's very difficult to raise, and in the email to your mother, it's very, very difficult to raise a young man like you. So you should be proud of yourself and the work that you put in, and we all appreciate it, and I appreciate having you a part of our program. I will definitely follow you through Harvard, and we wish you the best of luck, and we still have 2 seasons for you to be a Husky, and we're gonna root you on through that. So I just wanted to thank you, your family, mom, and best of luck moving forward, but you still have 2 seasons with that. All right? Without further ado, the man that really helped Peter in the support that he needed, Coach Zanat, will have a few words.
All right, great, thank you. Mr. Galano said a lot about Peter, and it's all true, all of it. With this, I like telling a few little stories that I think are always, they capture like the essence of how you're at this table right now. So, I don't even know how Peter came to track and field. I remember we had a loaded senior team, and we had Robert Blue and Ian Santiago and Amelia. You were out there as a senior, and it was a cold night, and all of a sudden, Peter appeared and he said, "I'm cleared. I'm ready to go." I don't even know how you got there, actually. But he just showed up. It was like a week late into practice. So I'm like, all right, well, he looked like any other kid, so we put him into events, and we were doing hurdles that day. We were introducing hurdles, and he started going over the hurdles. He looked like a natural. It was great. And then the first meet, usually for kids that are 9th graders, we put them in a 55 meter and a 300. It's like, he looks like he could do pretty well at one of these. Well, his first meet as a 9th grader, he ran a 39-second 300, which was a varsity standard by over a second without any training. So there's definitely some natural talent there. Okay? And about 2 weeks later, I had a meeting with his mother in that office and said, look, we have a special talent on our hands, and we need to make sure that this special talent is cultivated. And Peter wasn't even aware of that conversation at the time. And Diane, I don't even know if you were really aware of what we were talking about. Exactly.
I heard you, but it was another language.
So heard me, but it was another language. And I explained to Peter's mom that he's got the talent, that if he wants to take it in a direction that could get him here one day, that we have that right in our hands. Okay? So Peter had a great indoor season, and then he proceeded to sign up for lacrosse in the spring. That was a joke. He did. He signed up for lacrosse. He played lacrosse in the spring of his freshman year, and I was like, what are we doing here? Like, what? Are you kidding me? But he was wanted to be a multi-sport athlete, which is great. He's out with his friends. It was awesome. His sophomore year, he turned it up a little bit. And the next story I'd like to share is his first 4x200 meter relay at the Armory. We were at the Jim Mitchell invite. It was December 16th, in that range, so right around now. And I put him as the anchor leg of our A relay. I was predicting he would do pretty well. And he proceeded to pick off. We were in like 4th place at the anchor leg, and he picked off about 4 athletes. We won our heat. And George Williams, who was a senior at the time, he's like, who's that kid? He's going to be our anchor every single time. And that was a senior that was speaking about sophomore Peter. Okay, and then, the indoor season rolled on. And then we go to his spring of his sophomore year. And long story short, Peter started the year as a sophomore as a competitive athlete, and at the end of the year as a Section 1 champion in the 400 hurdles. And we rode on a bus together, a van, I should say, together to Middletown, New York, to compete in the New York State Championships. Okay, now to be a sophomore in an event that's as difficult as the 400 hurdles says a lot. And I'll never forget the conversation, Peter, we had on the van. At the end, I was like, let's do this with some of your teammates next time. So it's not just you and me on a van for an hour and a half up to Middletown. And he was like, that would be great. That would be really great. So the next year, this guy, as a junior, he brought a lot of his teammates along with him. So we had a lot of kids that went to the state meet last year in the indoor season. And Peter, I think that gave you the most joy, actually, like being involved in that relay. So, you take this and you think, like, where did Peter come from? It's been, like Mr. Galano said, it's been a full 4 years. And we talk about the recruiting, and obviously you're a really good student. Like, that goes without saying. Mrs. Anat, Kate, my wife Kate, is his extended essay supervisor. And Peter, could you tell them what your extended essay, the topic is?
Yeah, it's about, is it better to stretch to be more flexible for hurdling, or get your muscles stiffer so you're faster at top speeds when sprinting?
So yeah, like his extended essay is about something he personally enjoys, which is great. And I'll never forget the conversation I had with the Harvard track and field coach. So Peter was highly recruited by Princeton, Harvard, Dartmouth. I mean, the list goes on. University of Virginia, Duke, North Carolina. The summer conversations, that's what was happening all summer long. And I'll never forget the conversation I had with Coach Mangicotti at Harvard. He said, we know Peter's a really good athlete. Could you tell me about his character? So this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then we can be on with the, completed or move on with the signing. So I said, I got a great story for you, Coach Mange, and I wrote about this in Peter's recommendation. We were at the, I believe it was the New Balance games last year, and Peter was scheduled to run the invitational 300-meter dash. And they're calling for the 300-meter dash, calling for it. And we're like, where's Peter? No one can find him. And I remember running up into the stands, and I said, you got to warm up. Are you ready? And he was helping one of our athletes on the team who has some developmental disabilities put his bib on and put the pins on the bib. And like, for a student to be that selfless, a student athlete to be that selfless, says so much more about you than any time you've ever performed, any run you've ever made or medal you've ever earned. And the coach from Harvard said, say no more. You said enough. And all that, like, that to me sticks out as much or more than any other performance you've ever made. You taking the time out of your important race to help your own teammate who is struggling to put pins on his uniform to do that. So, I thank you for that, and I thank you for, all of your time. And this is obviously a really well-deserved day. And like Mr. Galano said, it's not done. You have an indoor track season, you have a football season, and then you have a spring track and field season as a Husky. And then you can make your crimson, you can put on your crimson uniform later. So let's finish out the unfinished business that's here at Harrison High School. So I know it was long-winded, but there's a lot to say. So when we have the time to have these things, it's important to express it. So Peter, congratulations.
Thank you, Coach.
Peter, at this time, if you would like to say anything to the crowd, to parents.
Yeah,
family.
I just want to start with thanking everybody for coming. There's so many people here, and more people are walking in. It's just great to see everybody. Second, I want to get to thanking people. To start, Ms. Griffo, you've been a big fan of coming to a lot of the meets. Mrs. Anat, you've taught me a lot about hurdle stretching and helping with that, taking time out of your day. Coach Fish, you've given me stuff in the weight room just to think about. Mr. Galano, you've given me a lot of support as the head of athletic director. Coach Sirocco, you're my football coach. Always look up to you, and you have me for a season, so it's a lot of fun. And Coach Zanat, you're my head coach of track, and you put so much time every week, off season, in season, to help me be the best I can and to help my teammates be the best we can. and that's real special. So thank you. I want to thank my family. I have my family, grandparents and dad on Zoom. So thank you guys for giving me all the support, and then my sisters and mom. And you're my biggest fan, Mom. So thank you for everything you do.
Job well done. All right, now the big moment. He's going to sign his life away to the Crimson. And date that very important document in front of you. Perfect. So now he's officially put the hat on. You're still with us. Do you smile? Quite smile. Prove to your sister. All right, thanks, guys.
Hello and welcome to tonight's match of East Chester versus Harrison at our senior night. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge all of our senior athletes. We are so proud of all your athletic and academic accomplishments throughout the years at Harrison High School. Your leadership, camaraderie, and talent will be missed. We wish you luck with your future endeavors and the rest of the season. First, number 2, Peyton Gardner. Midfielder, 3-year varsity teammate, captain, scholar athlete. Here's the big one. Next, number 16, Ariana Nero, defense, 4-year varsity teammate and scholar athlete. And then the Neros can go. Number 8, Erica Miller, midfielder, 4-year varsity teammate and scholar athlete. Number 19, Jelena Peruta, midfielder, 4-year varsity teammate, captain, scholar athlete. Number 15, Olivia Peretti, defense, 4-year varsity teammate, captain, and scholar athlete. Number 1, Madison Stagg, defense, 3-year varsity teammate, and scholar athlete. Number 21, Maria DeRusso, defense, 3-year varsity teammate, captain, and scholar athlete. And number 24, Molly Ryan, 3-year varsity teammate and scholar athlete. thank you for all of your time and commitment throughout the years. If it wasn't for all of your perseverance and dedication, none of these athletes would be here today. Thank you.